Commissioner, I was concerned to see recently a couple of tweets from the Hong Kong police force promoting their visit to Australia and their engagement with the AFP. They boasted of their meetings with Australian Federal Police in Canberra and Perth, and also their attendance at the Australian Institute of Police Management in Sydney. What was the nature of their engagements in Canberra and Perth with the AFP?
Thanks, Senator. I'll hand that over to the Deputy in charge of International, Lisa Gale.
Thank you, Senator. I'll just get to our relationship with Hong Kong, which is here. Sorry, let me try. Senator, in relation to why our Hong Kong counterparts were here, I'd have to take on notice in relation to the specific nature of why they were here.
Okay. Is anyone here in the room aware of who they met with in Canberra? They posted photos from what appear to be in the building in your headquarters. No one knows why they were here, why we met with them?
I did not meet with them, but...
I'd like to assist if I could see the photograph, Senator.
Yeah, I can table that. Or perhaps in lieu of tabling it, just provide it to you in the first instance and then it can be tabled.
Thanks.
Oh, it's in Perth, Canberra and Perth.
No further insights, Deputy Commissioner? I was kind of not filled with confidence to see those photos. I'm even less filled with confidence that no one seems to know why they were here or what they were doing or who they met with.
We do have a long-standing relationship with the Hong Kong police, who have actually cooperated, Senator, on a number of transnational serious and organised crime matters. I'm led to believe they're fairly junior officers, but we'd have to come back, take it on notice.
Senator, what I can, from looking at the photos, they visited our Perth office, and it looks like they also visited at the Australian Institute of Police Management. Yeah,
I'll come to that. So, am I right, Commissioner, understanding that the Australian Institute of Police Management is a kind of a federated body which all state and federal branches of police feed into and help run and finance, and that you're the chair of the board, or the Commissioner is the chair of the board?
I'll probably get the Chief Operating Officer to, so that you understand the construct. It's quite unique. It actually sits within the AFP.
Right.
The states do supply funding, but that's to deliver courses. So technically, those that are employed there are employed by the AFP. The Hong Kong police historically normally had an embedded fellow going back in the past at the AIPM, and were long-standing arrangement there with them about the Australian Institute of Police Management. I'd have to get the dates and I'll take that on notice when they were there as far as permanently based at the AIPM.
Do you think it's appropriate that we're involved in training Hong Kong police in Australia?
Well, I don't believe we did any training, but I'll find out.
Well, I certainly took it from their tweet that they did training. They participated in a training program.
Senator, if I can insist, it looks like they did executive development strategy, applied management for policing, emergency services and public safety leadership at AIPM.
Okay, so we're meeting with them, but we're not sure who or why. We're training them, but we're not sure whether that we should be. None of this filling me with confidence. I mean, not to put a too fine a point on it, but Deputy Commissioner Gale just outlined all the outstanding work that we're doing in the Pacific to work with our Pacific neighbours. You don't have to be read in on classified intelligence to know that one of the reasons why we do that is because we are concerned about the Chinese Communist Party's engagement with law enforcement in the Pacific, and we would rather be the partner of choice for security. It seems ironic to me that we are training ourselves a branch of the Chinese Communist Party's police service in Hong Kong, particularly in light of the fact of their horrific treatment of pro-democracy protesters during the debate about the national security law, which is not just a historical issue but a contemporary issue. I mean, at this moment, they are out there in recent months arresting people for lighting candles to commemorate Tiananmen Square. They are locking up media proprietors for criticising the Chinese government. They are locking up unionists. They are locking up opposition politicians. They are even involved in the bounties on the heads of an Australian citizen and an Australian resident for being political dissidents. I mean, do we really think this level of cooperation with the Hong Kong police force is appropriate?
I know this probably won't make you feel more comfortable, but we actually do continually share intelligence with the MPS. I've been on the record previously on that. We actually are a net receiver of that intelligence, and that intelligence has led to protecting a lot of Australians from harm, in particular on illicit drugs. So we have maintained that posture, and we do receive a large amount of intelligence from the MPS, and that's part of our relationship with the MPS. We are based in Beijing, as you know, in Guangzhou and in Hong Kong. It is a challenging situation that we're faced with the complexity of the world that we're in at the moment. However, I'll go back to the principles of policing, and we are trying to show leadership in this area. That Interpol has is one of the biggest international organisations historically. 189 roughly, or might be more than 190 now, member countries. And there's principles about sharing information, police-to-police cooperation. So that's the componentry that we are involved in.
Yeah.
And I understand your concerns around the training aspects, and I'll look into that and find out what that was about. Normally that's executive leadership, not tactical, or it's rule of law, democratic leadership,
yes,
believe it or not.
Hong Kong
that's what we
police
teach.
Could use a bit of that.
So that's what we do teach. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that our view is we're trying to influence and provide that capability where it's in the interests of our nation.
Sure, and I do understand the intelligence sharing relationship that you have with the Chinese government, and I'm not questioning you on that, because one thing is a transactional arm's length intelligence sharing arrangement that can produce actionable outcomes for Australians. That's one thing. We can categorise that in one way and deal with that. This is different. This is training police who are part of a police force that's involved in abuse of human rights, which no Australian would want to be facilitating or permitting in any way or encouraging in any way. And I don't think we should be viewing those two separate things in the same way. And I would encourage you to take it up, as you have said you will. Please.
I've been advised that they visited the JPC3, and as you'll be aware, that's our cyber coordination centre. So I can follow up, take your question on notice and give you a little more detail about that. And I understand that they may have had some interaction with our asset seizure team. So I can give you some, I'll take that on notice and get more detail for you.
More detail would be appreciated, and it would be deeply ironic if the #1 state sponsor of cyber attacks on Australia was coming to talk about cyber security with the AFP. That would be deeply ironic.